Okay, so what we're gonna do now is take a tour of the arcade building. So that is this dark tan building here. And I will show some of the detailing you can see from the outside before removing the top layers and going on the inside. But just on the outside, first of all, you can see both towers have a little bell that swings. And without removing too much, you can see inside there's a little bit of garden on the inside that's exposed there at these top layers. And of course, each layer has its kind of catwalk here. You can see there's a bit of flowers and tiling there that I've done. And going down, you've got some balconies. Not too much details on the outside of those, but you can see that. I originally wanted to use the this type of ornate fencing, but there's a round version of that would be nice here to kind of cap that balcony. It wasn't available in black at the time that I built this. Since then, it's been released in the Natural History Museum, but I made a workaround by putting these flowers here, and I've actually tried to put that circular piece from the Natural History Museum, and it didn't work out. I actually kept it like this, though I may try again, because I do think that would be a nice piece to cap that balcony there. A little nice keystone coming down there. Here's the main patio on the second floor. Some birds, and I don't know if I can remove this. I can probably remove it to show how that is built up. There's that new plant element there, which I think is really useful for doing greenery. And then I can see I knocked over the tree. Well, that's fine. I'll just bring it out. So I was very happy with this tree design also. It's just made with flower stems on the inside, but instead of just putting a bunch of flowers, you also put leaves. And I think with 5 of these stems, you can make this almost round tree shape. So that sits in the center. There's some hanging flowers here. On this roof, I kind of imagine it to be quite moist, quite damp type of setting. This is one of the older buildings in Lego City. And a bit of reclaiming of nature. I could even, this tiling here, this olive green tiling, add some moss, some kind of this feeling of kind of nature reclaiming. I think that would be appropriate for this building. When I've tried to add some moss to this, it hasn't turned out right for me. So I've just removed it. I think the tiling is just more clean. I know that there's a trend in the adult kind of AFOL building style to just go all out detail and hide the structure of the brick, hide the squareness of the brick, and try to make it as organic looking as possible. But I don't find that to be a very nice way of dealing with Lego. I like, Legos are bricks, they're square, there is an aesthetic to that, and there's a simplicity that comes with that. And I do try to capture that bricky feel and not try and hide it. Outside, there's some arches here. You can see how the front is built up. That's crooked. And here you see a librarian coming out. So now I think I'm going to show the inside of this building. And what I've done for all of my buildings in Lego City is only build interior on the first floor. Of course, it would be expensive and also time consuming to decorate every floor. And I am something of when I worked at Lego, they had always kind of generalized the genders and said boys like to play outside and girls like to play interior. And so if this is true, then I'm quite a boy in this way. I do prefer to spend my time building the outside and doing what you would call the public details, not the private world details of the interiors. But I think that the interior, building interior on the first floor at least helps give the building some character. So I've done that for all of my buildings. And as I have said in a previous video, this building is a governmental building. It's an archive and office building for politicians. There's a lot of offices in here. And here you can see the detailing of the floor. You can see some reference computers, some nice hanging light fixtures, which lead in from the entry. On both sides here, you can see how both those hallways look. No hallways here, you just come directly in. Those light fixtures also correspond to the hanging chandeliers, which I've built, but I had to take them off. They attach to the second floor, so you wouldn't see them here, but that's what those look like. There's one hanging, I think, over each entry, or maybe they're a little further in, but there's one on each end here. Other than that, you see, what details do you see? You see the copy machine here. I used to, in an earlier life, work at FedEx office, so I spent a lot of time around copy machines. The lid to the glass copier is here. It functions. There's a trash can. The doors for the paper trays don't open, but they are indicated there. And if I had some time, I'd do some decoration to actually make it look like something is being copied there. Right now, it's just a placeholder white tile. So there's that. Maybe we can feature some of the minifigures, because I am happy. I do spend time thinking about the minifigures. So here's a nice studious woman or girl. I think that face is very cute. I'm embarrassed I never made a face that adorable, and especially coupled with this fringed haircut. So cute. And this color palette is really, really nice. I can really imagine who this sweet girl is doing her studious work. She must be so cute, being so studious to her studies. Who else do we have in here? The woman doing the copies. What does she look like? Oh yeah, she's looking like a teacher type, right? An older woman. Also very adorable in her, probably one of those pale jean colors with that sweater. I think this torso was designed after I resigned from Lego, but another one that I would have been happy to have been assigned to work on. Another very adorable, cute older woman there. And who else is in here? Who's this guy? This guy is looking at a piece of artwork, obviously the pearl and the girl earring, the Vermeer painting. He's looks like another teacher type, researcher type. And that is such a classic face. I think that is modeled after one of my old colleagues, Chris. I think he designed that to look like himself. And this pearl earring is not designed by me. It was a colleague of mine who I was working with at the time. I think it was from 2013 is when that was done. And I was so impressed with this guy. His ability to render that painting into a Lego so well. And look at that emphasis on that earring. So perfect. Easel, which I did design. I'm quite proud of that. It's a little bulky, but I mean, that's what you expect out of Lego tools. All the Lego tools for the minifigures are all quite bulky if you think of the scale of the radio being a very classic one. So what else do we have in here? I think that succulent is not my design. I've borrowed that from, I think, Jamie Berard. Did that in one of his builds. Most of these chambers just have a bookshelf because, again, this is an archive, but I'll pull one of these out of here. Whoops, tiles came with it. Not supposed to do that. Yeah, here's the bookshelf. You can see the one book that the younger woman was reading. It's a pretty simple build. It's got a little bit of details, but some function there with the clips to keep the books in place. And yeah, there's 3 of those. The other chamber has a representative of an office for a government worker and politician, administrator. So you can say, I don't think I can pull that out, but you can see the details there. There is one detail here. I want to see if I can pull this out. It worked. I'm very happy with this. Perhaps other people have built like this. I didn't see anyone build like this. So in as far as that's the case, this was an original design. Maybe other people have done it, but I didn't copy them. I just stuck that flower stem, 6-stemmed flower stem in there with the pin inside that tile, and then stuck flowers on the rest. And I think that makes a perfect vase design. Even though that flower, it goes the wrong direction from the others, that's okay. Nobody cares, right? And I think that's probably all the details. Oh, there's one more man in here. I guess he's not that interesting, but we can talk about him. Let's see what he looks like. He's another classic guy, right? We've seen that face hundreds of times. I actually think I designed that face. It's a redesign of an older face, though. Yeah, not much to say about him. That torso reminds me of a colleague we used to work with. He used to wear a tan bow tie like that. Tom was his name. This guy kind of reminds me of Tom in 30 years. Yeah, I think that if this was like an official set, I think I've shown you all the minifigures that I would include in this set. This would be the last one. Nice middle. So we had a younger woman, older woman, and this is the middle-aged woman. I love these aqua legs. I use them all the time. Even though it's a color you wouldn't think. It looks kind of white here, but it's a color I find very useful for my minifigures, and I think she is a perfect librarian. I've also tried to, if you notice all the hair colors on these women, I've tried to keep some variety. I never try to repeat leg colors from minifigures when they're in the same set, so to speak. If this was a set, I try to keep some variety. The other three, I guess I forgot to mention, that are the more politician characters. So you've got an older woman, I should say. Here, guy in a mustache and a red cap, which has a lot of political connotations these days. And here is a super friendly guy. He's telling the public exactly what they want to hear to get reelected, right? He's shaking everyone's hands, building his network. He is the classic politician. Maybe kind of the annoying politician, right? And there's also this guy. I'd include him in there. Kind of a solitary guy. Headphones for me are nice, but they also indicate to me solitude. So while a lot of the minifigures who are in a more social situation, they won't ever have headphones, right? That wouldn't make any sense. But I like those headphones because they indicate some story about this guy being on his own. Maybe not, his entire life. He probably has some friends. But in this particular scenario, it's really indicating that he's having some alone time, which I think is appropriate for an archive setting. You are doing some alone time there. Maybe the last thing I'll feature is this ornate street lamp that I've designed with hanging flowers. So it looks a little dusty, although this hasn't been on display ever except now. And there's 4 of those around the hedge maze. There's also a guy, park guy, trimming the hedges, of course. You got to look at how curated those hedges are. They've got to be kept up, right? So he's got some pieces in there, and that's a face I've designed. And actually, that's one of my favorite torsos I designed while working at Lego. It's got so many layers. Can you get it in focus? There we go. He's got a white shirt underneath, sand blue hoodie, and then he's got his worker jacket on top with a heavy utility belt on top. And I think that having so many layers gives a lot of depth to that design. He's got a little radio in back, and you can see his sand blue hoodie continues in the back. So yeah, I was sometimes criticized for being very symmetrical in my designs. You can see there the tassels the strings of his hoodie that tighten it are very symmetrical. The zippers are very symmetrical. But for me, again, calling back to that Lego style of being built out of bricks are symmetrical. I do think it's you should retain some of that geometry when you're designing Lego. It's my preference and my style. So it even came out in my graphic design that I would make things probably more symmetrical than what other graphic designers were comfortable doing.